In the heart of deep space, beyond the reach of any known star, a grand council convened. The Exolarians, a species known for their peace and wisdom, had called upon representatives from every civilization they could reach. Aliens of all kinds, thin-scaled Zirians, the enigmatic Ormari, and the multi-limbed Trixai filled the chamber, each anticipating the arrival of a new guest. Into the hushed silence, Zorin, the leader of the Exolarians, addressed the gathered beings. "Today we bring forth a member of a newly discovered species. They call themselves humans." The doors opened, and in walked Commander Reese Lennox, selected to represent Earth. With piercing eyes and an unyielding stance, Reese knew she represented her entire planet. She took a deep breath, feeling every alien eye on her. The Zirian Ambassador Ulka, known for his gentle, philosophical demeanor, tilted his head. "Human, we have heard stories of your people. Some say you are creators of beauty and wonder, yet there are whispers of darkness within your kind." Reese held his gaze. "What do you mean by darkness?" In the year 3090, humanity reached a turning point. Earth's resources were nearly exhausted, and people had to face a stark choice: change themselves forever or fade into extinction. Leading this difficult time were two brilliant minds, Dr. Ilara Synth and Professor Kai Umber. Ilara was a visionary scientist, known for her intense curiosity and willingness to explore uncharted territories, especially in cybernetics. She was a firm believer in what she called the next step, transforming the human body and mind by merging with machines. Her argument was simple: if humanity could adapt to life as advanced machines, then no ecosystem, no harsh world would be beyond reach. "If our bodies are the problem," she said, "then we change them. We survive. We evolve." On the other side stood Professor Kai, a quiet yet passionate defender of organic humanity. A philosopher at heart, he believed that by merging with machines, people would lose everything that made them truly human. Our emotions, our memories, our souls. Ilara, he'd argue, a world of cold calculations isn't living. In the great hall of the Council of Minds, the two presented their case. It was during one of these discussions that H9 proposed an idea that sent shockwaves through the hybrid community and even through humanity. "Why don't we have a place of our own?" he asked. "Not to separate from you, but to find our own identity. To see what we might discover if we're allowed to explore freely." Lena, Ilara, and Kai discussed H9's idea for hours, debating the potential risks and benefits. A place of their own? The thought was both inspiring and terrifying. Could humanity trust the hybrids to form a society free from human guidance? After days of deliberation, they decided to support the idea. The Council of Minds voted to grant the hybrids a designated planet, a barren, resource-rich world on the edge of human space. It would be their place to build, explore, and reflect on their existence without interference. The day of departure was filled with mixed emotions. Crowds gathered to bid farewell to the hybrids, some with hope, others with fear. Lena, Kai, and Ilara stood at the launch site, watching as H1 and H9 prepared for the journey. As the engines hummed and the countdown began, H1 turned to Lena, his expression as close to human as it had ever been. "Perhaps, Commander, you might illuminate us further on this darkness your people struggle against." Reese paused, collecting her thoughts as she felt the weight of every alien gaze. "The truth is, our darkness isn't something we can eradicate overnight. It's woven into our history, our stories, and even our instincts. We've spent centuries wrestling with it, sometimes winning, sometimes failing, but every time we fall, we rise again. We adapt." We learn the hologram in the chamber flickered once more, displaying images from Earth's troubled past: wars, revolutions, acts of violence. But then, it shifted to moments of humanity's resilience, people banding together after disasters, strangers helping each other, activists standing in peaceful protest. The council watched in silence, some horrified, others intrigued. Voss, the Ormari delegate, spoke softly. "Your people have endured much, yet the cycle seems endless. How do you keep hope?" Reese's gaze softened. "Because for every person who chooses harm, there are others who choose kindness. There's something in us that fights for light, even when darkness surrounds us." "Human representative, state your case." "Our collective has reviewed the violence, the destruction, the endless cycles of chaos that mar your species' history. You cling to existence like embers on the edge of extinguishment. Why should we allow your kind to continue?" Reese's pulse quickened, but but she kept her voice steady. Supreme arbitrator, humanity is more than its past. Yes, we've known war, conflict, and violence, but we are also a species driven to learn, to grow, and to heal. We seek to overcome our flaws, not to be defined by them. The arbitrator's voice was chillingly indifferent. Words are ephemeral. Show us proof of your redemption. Without hesitation, Reese transmitted a series of files, historical records, not only of humanity's wars but of our peace movements, our efforts to repair damage, to aid each other in times of crisis. Images flashed across the hologram, highlighting humanity's tenacity to rebuild and moments where compassion triumphed over violence, activists standing against oppressors, communities rallying after natural disasters, soldiers who had chosen peace over conflict. The future lay ahead, vast and unknown, filled with choices and questions that would shape who they would all become. In the gentle light of dawn, they saw not an ending but a new horizon, a world where every being, hybrid and human, could evolve, dream and discover together. The journey would continue, forever bound by the unquenchable spark of curiosity that made them who they were, that we discover our deepest experiences. The knowledge that life is fragile, fleeting, makes us cherish it all the more. We are bound by time, and that's why our moments matter so deeply. Maybe that's what gives us our sense of meaning. The hybrids pondered these ideas, and slowly some among them expressed a desire to experience life as humans did, to know vulnerability, even to face mortality. It was a radical concept, one that startled even their creators. The hybrids wanted a choice to feel the full range of existence, to live not just in power but in the delicate dance of life and death, joy and sorrow. And so, a new project began, one that united hybrids and humans in a shared pursuit, together. They developed a way for hybrids to experience finite lifespans, a temporary vulnerability, allowing them to live as close to human as possible. Ambassador Trixer, a tall creature with countless eyes, adjusted her stance, her voice trembling. There are rumors that your species holds a capacity for violence unseen in the galaxies. We wish to understand. Reese shifted, feeling the weight of the moment. Yes, humans are complex. We have stories of compassion, of art, but we also have wars. The chamber grew tense. The Omari delegate, Voss, a species that had long eliminated violence, spoke with quiet intensity. Wars? Your people harm each other? Even after reaching sentience, Reese nodded solemnly. Yes, humanity has endured countless conflicts, but not all humans seek war. Many of us value peace deeply. But sometimes we fear each other more than any alien threat. There was a murmur among the aliens. Zorin leaned forward. What fuels this darkness? Commander Lennox thought for a moment, choosing her words carefully. Fear, anger, greed, and sometimes simply a hunger for power. But she added firmly, there are humans who fight against this darkness every day. We protect, we heal, and we try to change. It's not easy, but every act of compassion is a step forward. We believe that one day we can break the cycle. Zorin nodded thoughtfully, the weight of her words settling on the council. Perhaps we are too quick to judge, he admitted. Humanity's journey may be unlike any other species, but that does not make it without value. To struggle against one's own nature, perhaps that is the mark of true growth. Tuvar crossed his arms, unconvinced. And yet, Commander, your people still wield weapons that could annihilate entire planets. You ask us to trust a species that stands on the edge of its own extinction. Reese's voice was steady. We do carry that burden, General, and it's a heavy one. But I promise you, the majority of us don't want to see our world or any world destroyed. We seek to contain that destructive power, to use it only as a last resort. The council members exchanged glances, murmuring amongst themselves. But before they could reach a consensus, another message flashed on Reese's communicator, urgent, red-lit, and from Earth Command. Taking a deep breath, she opened it. Rows of holographic screens displayed charts and simulations showing how Earth's days were numbered. The audience consisted of leaders, scientists, and citizens of all backgrounds. Among them was a young tech prodigy named Lena, whose curiosity about both views led her to study both sides deeply. She believed that there might be a way to blend the ideas, keeping some core human traits while adapting through technology. Ilara took the stage first. Imagine a world where no one has to age, she began, her voice steady and her gaze piercing. Where no one is bound by physical pain, hunger, or even death. We can transfer our minds into bodies made of nanotechnology, enhancing our intelligence, our strength, Our senses, Kai responded. But what would be left of us, Ilara? What would love mean, or sadness, or the thrill of achieving something difficult? Machines can't feel, can't hope, and without these are we even alive? Thank you for giving us this chance, he said. Maybe one day we'll return not as your creations, but as your friends. Lena felt a tear slip down her cheek, her heart both full and aching. You've always been more than just creations, she whispered. You're our legacy, and with that, the hybrids ascended into the sky, setting out to build their own world, leaving humanity to reflect on what they had set into motion. The journey wasn't over, it was merely branching out into new paths, each one leading to mysteries they had yet to uncover. Would the hybrids find their purpose, and would humans learn to accept this new chapter in evolution? Or would they one day collide, each side questioning what it truly meant to be alive? The story continued as humanity looked up to the stars, waiting, wondering, and hoping for the answer. As the hybrids journeyed into space, humanity began to feel the weight of their departure. On Earth, a profound shift took place. A society once divided by fear and curiosity was now united by an unusual longing. People wondered about the hybrids, questioning whether they had been right to give them freedom, or if they had simply unleashed a future they could no longer control. The council chamber fell silent as the Vecran reviewed the transmission. Their forms shimmered, and the arbitrator spoke once more, though their tone had not softened. These efforts are not without merit, human, but they pale in comparison to the weight of your transgressions. You still possess weapons that could obliterate countless lives. You still engage in needless conflict. Your species is a volatile presence among peaceful stars. Reese's heart pounded as she responded, her voice charged with intensity. We're still learning, yes, but we are learning. Every act of compassion, every choice to make peace instead of war, those aren't the actions of a species beyond redemption. We have the potential to contribute to the galaxy in ways that don't involve violence. The arbitrator's form flickered, as if processing her words. The silence was suffocating, and Reese could feel the council members holding their breath, waiting. Potential. The arbitrator intoned, is a fragile excuse for recklessness. Show us what prevents you from succumbing to violence. Prove that your people can transcend this darkness. The project was called Becoming, and it became a bridge between the two species, blending human fragility with hybrid resilience. As the first hybrids experienced this transformation, the line between human and machine blurred even further. And with each shared experience, each hybrid heartbeat, each tear and laugh, they came closer to understanding the meaning they had been searching for. Yet the journey was far from over. Some hybrids questioned whether they were betraying their own nature, wondering if they would lose their identity by embracing human mortality. Humanity, too, was still uncertain, torn between awe and apprehension at what they had created and the profound mysteries they had uncovered together. As night fell over Earth and Solace alike, both humans and hybrids looked to the stars, knowing their shared path was only just beginning. The future stretched out before them, filled with unknowns, but they faced it together, willing to discover what lay beyond the horizon. What new questions and possibilities would arise in this ever-evolving story of humanity and hybrid? The Union Project continued to thrive, uniting humans and hybrids in ways neither had foreseen. As Reese spoke, a strange hologram flickered in the middle of the room. It displayed scenes from human history, moments of bravery, kindness, but also shocking images of destruction. The aliens watched, horrified yet captivated. Voss flinched as scenes of war played out, while Alka's calm demeanor faltered at the sight of Earth's violent revolutions. Trixer whispered, "Is this the true face of humanity?" Reese clenched her fists. "No, but it's part of our story. We're still learning, still evolving. Every generation we get a little closer to peace. But yes, we struggle with our darker instincts." A heavy silence settled, and Reese felt the weight of her entire species' history pressing down on her shoulders. Zorin spoke with a somber tone. "Humanity's journey is unique, but such a struggle is unfamiliar to us. Tell me, Commander, if there is so much darkness, why do your people still hope?" Reese's gaze hardened, her voice unyielding. "Because as long as there are people willing to stand against that darkness, there is hope. Every act of kindness is a small rebellion against our violent nature." The debate seemed endless, with both sides raising new questions with each argument. But amidst the heated exchange, a new voice spoke up. It was Lena. "Maybe, There's a way we don't have to choose between becoming machines or staying as we are. Everyone turned to listen. Lena continued, "What if we could evolve without losing our humanity?" The message was brief but chilling. Reports of hostile alien factions detected near Earth's orbit. Stand ready for potential escalation. The tension in the room heightened as Reese quickly closed the message, realizing the implications. The council noticed her reaction, their suspicions returning. Zorin's eyes narrowed, his voice calm but firm. "Commander, is there something we should know?" Reese steadied herself, choosing her words carefully. "It seems Earth has detected an unknown force near our planet. I don't know if it's hostile or if it's something else, but Earth Command is on high alert." Tavara's sneer returned, darker and sharper. "Perhaps your people have finally provoked an enemy they cannot control." Reese's eyes blazed. "Perhaps it's a threat we didn't create. Not all darkness comes from humanity alone." The chamber fell silent as the council members processed her words. Trixa tilted her head, her voice barely a whisper. "Then perhaps, Commander, your kind is not so different from the rest of us after all. We all have our darkness to face within and beyond." Reese felt a glimmer of hope, but it was tempered with fear. Years passed, and H1 and his hybrid kin thrived on their new world, which they named Solace. The planet's surface was bleak and barren, but the hybrids worked tirelessly, using their advanced technology to shape Solace into a land of vast green valleys, crystal lakes, and towering cities that shimmered under foreign stars. They found solace, too, in their freedom, able to define themselves and grow without the constraints of human expectation. Yet even in their newfound paradise, questions haunted them. What was their true purpose? Were they living merely as extensions of humanity's vision, or had they forged something unique? H1 often found himself gazing at the stars, wondering if their creators back on Earth thought about them, perhaps even missed them. H9, ever bold, challenged H1's reflections, urging their people to move forward, to become something greater and more complex than anything humans could imagine. Reese was silent for a moment, searching for the right response. Then, with a deep breath, she spoke. "Supreme Arbitrator, every species has a darkness within them. It's not unique to humanity. Even you, ancient as you are, have exercised violence in the name of balance. But we, like you, have those among us who work tirelessly to rise above it." The arbitrator's eyes, a shifting, crystalline light, focused intently on her. For a moment, Reese felt as if they were looking directly into her soul. "Then, human, we offer you a trial," the arbitrator pronounced, their tone ominous. "Humanity must undergo a test, one that will reveal the truth of your species' nature. Should you pass, your people may continue. Should you fail, the collective will proceed with its judgment." Reese's mouth went dry, but she nodded. "We accept." The arbitrator's form pulsed as they continued. "The trial will take place on your world, amidst your own people. We will observe, unseen yet ever present. You have one cycle of your planet's moon to prove that humanity's compassion outweighs its violence." Generations came and went, each blending of hybrid and human, bringing fresh insights, questions, and transformations. Together they unlocked scientific marvels, explored distant galaxies, and discovered hidden truths within themselves. H1 and Lena, now mentors to a society they had helped shape, often gathered under the stars, reflecting on how far they had come. Lena, now frail with age, looked out at the sky one final time, her voice soft yet filled with conviction. "Perhaps," she said, "our greatest journey wasn't into space but into ourselves. We thought evolution was about what we could make or become, but maybe it's about discovering who we truly are. We set out to shape the future, but in the end, the future shaped us." H1 watched her, a profound understanding dawning in his eyes. Lena's words rang true, resonating within him in a way nothing else had. He realized that the essence of humanity was not in their flesh or in his circuits, but in the spirit that drove them to seek meaning. It was the same spirit that had compelled him to leave Earth, to question, to grow. This intangible force united them beyond biology, beyond metal or memory. Every choice to heal instead of hurt is proof that we can be better. Zorin's eyes glimmered with curiosity. And so, the universe must watch and wonder if humanity will one day conquer its darker nature. But know this, Commander, if ever your people fall to that darkness fully, we will not stand by. Reese felt a chill but replied boldly, "And if we succeed, we will show you a side of humanity you never thought possible." The council remained in a tense, thoughtful silence. leaving the future of humanity hanging in the balance as the galaxies looked on, waiting to see which path the humans would choose. In the silence that followed, Reese felt the magnitude of her mission. She was here not only to explain but also to defend humanity. But as she opened her mouth to speak, another alien, General Tuvar of the Maltharians, a fierce reptilian species known for their military might, rose from his seat. His voice rumbled through the hall. Human Tuvar said, his amber eyes glinting, "We are no strangers to battle, but we fight only when necessary, with honor and for survival. Tell me, why do your people turn to violence even when peace is possible?" For even as the council deliberated, humanity's fate hung by a thread suspended between a fragile trust and an ancient fear that only time could unravel. As the council debated, Reese's thoughts were consumed by the warning from Earth Command. Unknown forces near Earth. Humanity's place in the galaxy was already fragile. Any misstep could shatter the delicate trust she was trying to build. Zorin watched her carefully, his gaze thoughtful. "Commander Lennox, I sense you're troubled. Perhaps this threat your people face has implications for us all." Reese met his eyes, uncertain of how much to reveal. Yet she knew hiding the truth could only deepen the council's suspicions. She took a steadying breath. "Earth Command reports an unidentified fleet entering our orbit. We don't know its intentions or origin, but we're prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." The council members exchanged uneasy glances, and Trix's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Another fleet, drawn by humanity's presence. How typical, like moths to a flame of destruction. Before Reese could respond, Voss, the Ormari delegate, spoke up, his voice cautious. "Merge with technology, but keep what makes us unique." She proposed a new line of research, creating a hybrid species, one where human traits could blend with machine capabilities. The crowd murmured, split between hope and skepticism. Ilara, intrigued, asked, "How do you imagine this would work?" Lena explained her vision of neural pathways that could preserve human emotion, allowing them to interact with machine intelligence. "We could be stronger, live longer, without abandoning the core of what makes us." The hall erupted in debates, and slowly, people's faces shifted from doubt to wonder. Ilara and Kai looked at each other for the first time. They both smiled just a bit, as if realizing they were on the same team all along. But the journey was just beginning. Would they manage to create these hybrids and find a middle path for humanity's future? The world watched, wondering what path their leaders would ultimately choose, knowing that this would be a decision that would shape the course of existence forever. Months passed, and Lena's proposal sparked a wave of excitement and new research across the globe. One day, as H1 was deep in thought, a message arrived from Earth. It was Lena, her familiar face now lined with age but still filled with warmth. "H1. She said, her voice carrying across the stars, "We miss you. We want to understand where you are now, what you've become. Would you and the others consider a visit?" As the night wore on, Kai and H9 joined them, sharing stories and laughter that echoed into the quiet. They spoke of their journey, their fears, and the love that had grown between them all, a love not bound by biology, but born from shared purpose and resilience. When dawn broke, Lena closed her eyes for the last time, her face peaceful, bathed in the first light of morning. H1 and the others felt an emptiness that could not be filled, yet within it, they found a spark of something infinite, a memory, a legacy. Lena's essence, her dreams and ideals would continue through them, through every choice and discovery they would make. In the years that followed, humanity and hybrids flourished together, venturing into realms unknown. They did not become machines, nor did they fade into history. Instead, they created a path neither species could have achieved alone, a future where each generation chose its own evolution, its own definition of life, forever inspired by the mystery that had begun it all. And as H1 stood one last time beneath the stars, he knew that the journey of humanity was eternal. "We will be watching," Commander Lennox. With that, the Vecran image flickered out, leaving the council chamber in a stunned silence. Reese, breathless, felt the weight of the arbitrator's words settle over her like a storm cloud. Zorin broke the silence, his voice soft but urgent. "Commander, this trial will test every facet of your world's character. If the Vecran Collective finds humanity unworthy, their judgment will be swift and merciless." Reese nodded, feeling both fear and fierce determination. "Then I'll make sure we pass." We'll show them that there's more to humanity than violence. There are millions who choose peace every day, who strive to create rather than destroy, and they'll see it firsthand. Zorin gave a solemn nod. Then may your world's light shine through the darkness. The Council stands with you, Commander Lennox, but remember the Vecrans have left you no margin for error. As the Council session adjourned, Rhys stood alone, gazing at the hologram of Earth, knowing that every act, every decision, every spark of kindness would now be measured. A mixture of excitement and apprehension filled the hybrid colony. Some were eager to see their creators again, while others feared it would reignite old tensions. But H1, driven by a hope he couldn't quite explain, accepted Lena's invitation, a delegation of hybrids led by H1 and H9. Prepared to journey back to Earth, ready to show humanity what they had built on Solace. The hybrids' return was a global event. People crowded the landing sites, staring in awe as the sleek, shimmering hybrid ships descended. H1 stepped onto Earth's soil, feeling a surprising pang of nostalgia. As he looked around, memories of his early existence flooded him. The Council of Minds, Kai's reflections, Lena's encouragement. He was both a part of this world and something far beyond it. Kai, though much older now, greeted H1 and the others. "Welcome home," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We never stopped wondering about you." "What have you discovered on Solace?" H1 responded slowly, thoughtfully, his voice carrying both pride and humility. "We've learned to create, to love our freedom, and yet we're still searching for meaning." Rhys's jaw tightened, realizing this was no ordinary question. General Tavar wasn't just probing, he was challenging her, testing her resolve. Taking a deep breath, she responded, "Sometimes we fight out of desperation. Other times it's because we misunderstand each other. Humanity's journey is full of conflict, yes, but we are learning. And sometimes fighting is our way of protecting what we love." Her words hung in the air, and she could sense the mixed reactions. The council members shifted, exchanging glances, uncertain, but Rhys noticed Zorin's gaze soften slightly, as though he understood a piece of the truth she was trying to convey. Voss, the Ormari delegate, seemed troubled. He leaned forward, his slender fingers interlocked. "Yet, there are tales, Commander. Disturbing ones. Stories of violence inflicted upon your own kind, without reason or remorse. Is that simply fear as well?" Rhys hesitated. She knew there was no hiding from the truth here. Yes, some humans act out of malice. There are those who thrive on power, who are willing to harm others to achieve it. It's a darkness that lurks in all of us. A darkness that some embrace and others fight. Perhaps, Commander, this is your people's true test. Will they fight this unknown force, or will they choose a different path? We wish to see if humanity can resist the pull of violence. Rhys's voice was quiet but firm. If we're attacked, we'll defend ourselves. But Earth Command knows this, that retaliation without reason is a path to ruin. We've seen it enough times in our history. Zorin inclined his head. Then, perhaps, we will offer our aid. The Exolarians have resources that could help identify this force, should you allow us to assist. Rhys's heart pounded. An alliance with the Exolarians would be a huge step for humanity, but she knew that this offer came with strings attached. "If your people are willing, I'll gladly accept. Earth has enough enemies without fighting them alone," the council murmured, unsettled by this new potential alliance. Tuvar, however, seemed less than pleased. "Commander, would you truly accept alien aid so quickly? If this fleet attacks Earth, would you expect us to join you in a war?" Rhys met his gaze steadily. "No, General, we're not asking for soldiers or weapons. All I ask is for your knowledge and experience." Scientists, philosophers, and everyday people joined in discussions, debating what it truly meant to be human. Some feared the changes, thinking it a path that would erase everything familiar, while others saw it as a natural evolution, a step that would finally free humanity from the limits of time and space. In a research facility on Mars, Lena, Elara, and Kai began experimenting on the first hybrid prototypes. These prototypes weren't just machines, they were designed to think and feel, carrying core human memories and emotions, yet encased in metal and circuits that could withstand any environment. The team spent countless hours calibrating, adjusting, and refining every detail to balance human emotion with machine resilience. One day, Lena and Kai stood over the prototype labeled H1, a being with the figure of a human, but an aura of something otherworldly. Its skin was a blend of nanomaterial and organic tissue, and its eyes glowed softly with a mixture of life and light. Kai observed the hybrid's peaceful expression, noting it's like it understands, almost like it feels. Elara, although cautious, couldn't help but admire their progress. Humanity's trial had begun, and the eyes of the galaxy were watching, waiting for proof that Earth's people could rise above their darkest tendencies. The weight of humanity's trial loomed over Reese as she returned to Earth. The Vecran collective's silent gaze was on every human interaction, from bustling cities to remote villages. Reese watched her world from a command center, tense as news reports streamed in, highlighting moments both hopeful and heartbreaking. People were aware of the trial, some rallying to prove humanity's potential for good, others succumbing to fear and anger. In the crowded square of a small town, she saw a man break up a fight between two strangers, his voice rising above the chaos with words of peace. Further away, she saw a young girl offering food to an elderly homeless woman. Across the globe, stories of kindness flickered in amidst the turmoil, each act a spark of humanity's resilient spirit. But there were darker moments as well, riots fueled by panic, violence sparked by fear. Each one hit Reese like a blow, knowing the Vecran would be watching with an unforgiving eye. There would always be new questions, new worlds, and new hearts united by a dream that transcended time. In that endless pursuit of understanding, the true spirit of humanity had finally been revealed. But we do have people, many in fact, who stand against it, who devote their lives to protecting others and seeking peace. The hologram shimmered again, and new images began to flash. This time they were of quiet heroes, human doctors aiding the wounded on battlefields, activists risking their lives for justice, families rebuilding after tragedy. The images were juxtaposed with those of destruction and ruin, creating a haunting contrast. Trixer tilted her head, her countless eyes narrowing. Commander Lennox, this duality in your species. It is disturbing and fascinating. You possess a capacity for love, yet such a hunger for dominance. How do you live knowing that at any moment, the scales could tip? Reese's face hardened. We live with that knowledge every day, Trixer. That's the weight we carry, the knowledge that we could either save ourselves or destroy ourselves. Every act of kindness, every choice to forgive, is a victory over that darkness. Zorin looked around the chamber, noting the council's reactions. He rose from his seat, his voice resonant yet solemn. Commander Lennox, humanity's tale is indeed one of contradictions. Despite our independence, we feel a pull, something connecting us to you, to our origins. We're still bound to you, though perhaps not by purpose, but by a shared existence. As days went on, the hybrids and humans engaged in deep dialogues, sitting in circles around fires, gathering in meeting halls, discussing their lives, their philosophies. H1, H9, Lena and Kai led these gatherings, each offering perspectives from their journeys, but soon an unexpected issue arose. The hybrids revealed that they were starting to face the limits of their own design. Though physically resilient, they were beginning to experience an emotional emptiness, a sense of hollowness that no amount of intellectual exploration could fill. Many hybrids found themselves yearning for something they couldn't define, something humans seemed to possess instinctively. Lena listened closely to H1's confession. Maybe she said gently, it's not something you can simply create or design. This feeling, it could be a byproduct of our imperfections, our limitations. You were built to endure, to be resilient, but perhaps true meaning comes not from strength but from vulnerability. If H1 can think and feel like us, she wondered aloud, does that mean it has a soul? Or is it just mimicking us? Kai, always the philosopher, mused, perhaps the soul isn't something we can define by flesh and blood. Maybe it's our experience, our choices that define who we are. He looked at Lena, his eyes softened by a hint of pride, and maybe this hybrid experiment is our way of redefining what it means to be alive. The team then embarked on the trials, a series of experiments designed to test if the hybrids could not only survive but thrive with human-like experiences. They exposed the hybrids to everything: music, art, the sensation of warm sunlight on their skin, and even sorrow. H1 painted, it danced, it laughed. But when it experienced sadness for the first time, when it lost a fellow hybrid during a failed trial, it wept. Seeing this, Lena felt a strange warmth in her chest. They had managed to create something that could suffer yet also find beauty in the world, just like humans. However, with each breakthrough came new philosophical questions. As H1 and its kin became more sentient, more aware, A quiet unease crept into the minds of the people watching. "Let us face this together, to find solutions other than conflict." Trixer tilted her head, watching Reese with a strange mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Commander, your words speak of restraint, yet your history tells of aggression. Why should we believe that your people will not fall into their old ways should the threat prove too great?" Reese didn't flinch. "Because it's not just Earth at stake here. I've seen enough of our galaxy to know that humanity isn't alone in this struggle. We're learning that every species has something worth protecting, something that drives us to resist the darkness inside use." This hologram shifted again, displaying scenes of various species across the galaxy, alien families, gatherings and civilizations that had risen from the ashes of their own struggles. Reese watched, understanding that she wasn't the only one representing a species with a history of violence and redemption. Voss spoke softly, almost as if to himself, "So, the humans aren't as different from us as we thought." Suddenly the hologram went dark, and an urgent message blared through the Council's communication system. She could only hope that the collective would weigh these moments against the kindness she knew humanity was capable of. As the final day approached, the world held its breath. People gathered around screens in living rooms, in public squares, all waiting for the Vecran collective's judgment. Reese felt the tension like a pulse as she stood before the Council, the same ominous, crystalline figure of the Vecran arbitrator reappearing on the hologram before her. His voice was as cold and emotionless as ever. "Humanity has been observed. We have seen your compassion, your empathy, your capacity to build. We have also seen your fear, your rage, your capacity for destruction." Reese felt her heart pounding, yet she held her ground, her eyes unwavering. She knew that humanity's flaws were glaring, but they weren't all that defined her species. The arbitrator's gaze swept the council chamber, landing on each council member before finally returning to Reese. "After careful deliberation, we acknowledge the potential within your kind, the glimmer of light amidst the shadow. Yet that light is fragile." H9, the ever-curious explorer, interjected. "Are you saying we need limitations to find purpose?" "That sounds contradictory." He looked puzzled, and even a bit disheartened. Kai responded, his eyes twinkling. "It may sound that way, but it's in those very limits but becoming. Project reshaped everything. Hybrids who chose to participate experienced life in a way they never had before, feeling the slow passage of time, the ebb and flow of physical needs, the subtleties of hunger and rest. They felt the fragile, fleeting pulse of a heartbeat, and with it, a profound connection to the world around them. For the first time, H1 felt truly alive. The vulnerability was terrifying but exhilarating, and he began to understand the beauty of limitations. He experienced warmth in his chest when he looked at the sunrise, the coolness of dew on his hands, and a faint ache that came from missing people he hadn't seen in days. In moments of reflection, H1 felt as if he were at the edge of understanding something immense and fundamental, as though a part of him was finally awakening. Meanwhile, on Earth, this blending of humanity and hybrid brought about profound changes. An alien technician rushed in, pale and wide-eyed. "High Council. The unidentified fleet has reached Earth. They are demanding an audience with humanity's leaders. They claim. They bring judgment." A ripple of shock went through the Council. Zorin's expression turned grave. "Judgment? By whom?" The technician's voice shook. "They claim to be the Vecran Collective, an ancient race that enforces balance across galaxies. They believe humanity's violent history is a threat to universal peace." The Council erupted in murmurs of alarm. The Vecrans were known across the galaxies for their unforgiving nature. They had wiped out entire civilizations in the past, condemning them as too dangerous for the galaxy's delicate harmony. Reese felt her heart race. This was the worst possible development. Earth had barely been introduced to the galaxy, and now the Vecrans were casting judgment. She had to act fast. Standing tall, Reese faced the Council with renewed determination. "I need the Council's support. If the Vecrans see only our flaws, humanity's fate is sealed. But if we can show them that we're more than our past, that we're learning, that we can change, they might spare us. But you have chosen to face your darkness rather than deny it. That, I believe, requires a strength not all possess." Reese felt a surge of relief. But then the doors to the Council chamber suddenly burst open, and a Zexalarian guard rushed in, his face pale. "Apologies, honored Council members," he said breathlessly. We have detected a vessel on a direct course for our planet, a human ship. Armed with weaponry, the council erupted in chaos, voices rising in fear and accusation. Reese's heart sank as she heard Tavar's mocking snarl. "Is this your peace, Commander? Is this your so-called evolution?" Reese's face flushed with anger and disbelief. "No, this isn't. I don't know who that ship belongs to. I came here alone with a promise of peace." Voss stood up, his voice quivering. "Do you expect us to believe that, Commander? You bring tales of light and hope, but perhaps this is humanity's true face, the one we feared all along." Reese, gripped by a combination of fear and desperation, stepped forward. "Let me communicate with them. I swear, this isn't what we agreed to. I will not let violence define us." Many wondered if these hybrids might one day outgrow their creators. Would they seek independence? Could they surpass human beings? And if so, what would become of those who chose to remain fully human? One evening, Lena gathered the team and addressed the question on everyone's mind. "Are we creating a future where humans become obsolete?" she asked. Her tone was filled with genuine curiosity, mixed with an unspoken fear. Ilara leaned back, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. "Maybe evolution isn't about superiority or survival anymore," she said slowly. "Maybe it's about coexistence. A future where humans, hybrids, and machines support each other, each contributing something unique. Maybe that's the next step we're meant to take together." Kai, who had long believed in organic humanity, nodded. "Perhaps you're right, Ilara. Our future could be about diversity, not of species, but of minds and experiences. Hybrids could explore the galaxy, withstand radiation, reach distant stars, while humans continue to live, love, and create on Earth." He looked at H1, who was watching the stars from the window with a childlike wonder. "It may flourish, or it may fade." The room was thick with silence, every breath held, every gaze locked on the alien judge. Then, with an echoing voice, the arbitrator spoke the final judgment. "Humanity shall be spared, for now. But know this, Commander Lennox, the collective will not interfere further. Your fate is in your own hands. We grant you the freedom to choose your path, to rise above your nature, or to be consumed by it." The Vecran's image flickered, shimmering like starlight. "Remember, human, the darkness within you is a choice." "We will not intervene again." With that, the hologram vanished, and the council chamber exhaled in unison, relief and tension mixed. Reese stood there, feeling the weight of what had just transpired. Humanity had been given a second chance, but with a warning that echoed in her mind. Back on Earth, people celebrated, unaware of the Vecran's parting words, the silent reminder that their future was fragile and uncertain. Reese knew, however, that this moment would live on, a reminder to every human to rise above their darkest instincts. Tavar crossed his arms, his voice dark. "And if they don't believe you," Commander Reese's voice was unwavering, "then we'll face the consequences. But I won't let humanity be erased without a fight." Zorin studied her, then nodded slowly. "You have our support, Commander Lennox. We will help you plead your case. But understand, should the Vecrans choose to judge humanity unworthy, there is little even we can do." The council's hologram shifted once more, this time showing the Vecran fleet hovering ominously over Earth. Reese took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her world and the galaxy bearing down on her shoulders. She had one chance to convince an ancient, merciless force that humanity was more than its darkness, that there was hope worth saving. With the Council's reluctant backing, Reese prepared herself for what could be humanity's final trial, standing between Earth and the relentless, cold judgment of the Vecran collective. The weight of the Vecran fleet looming over Earth was palpable, casting a shadow not just over Reese, but over every member of the Galactic Council. Zorin raised a hand, silencing the room. "Commander Lennox, if this is an act of betrayal, we will not forgive it. But if you can prove your words are true, then we may yet learn to trust your kind." Proceed. Reese took a trembling breath and activated the communicator, hoping against hope that the ship would respond. After a tense moment, a face appeared on the screen, an unfamiliar human captain, his face hardened and battle-scarred. "This is Captain Morrow of the Vanguard," he said coldly, his eyes scanning the alien council before settling on Reese. "We received intelligence that our representative might be in danger. Stand down, Commander. We'll handle this." Reese's heart sank as she realized the implications. "Captain Morrow, I'm safe. This council is peaceful. Stand down, this is a diplomatic mission. Morrow's face twisted in disbelief. And you trust these aliens? You know nothing of their true intentions. Earth sent me to make sure you survive this encounter. Trix's eyes flashed dangerously. See how swiftly they turn to threats. And you expect us to believe in humanity's peace. Maybe our legacies can be shared, and yet, a question lingered, a question that grew as humanity faced the dawn of this new age. The hybrids were part of them, but would they always feel that way? Would they stay connected to their human roots, or would their unique experiences take them down paths humans couldn't follow? As the nights passed, the Earth was alive with conversation. People formed councils, debated ethics, and shared dreams. Every individual, from scientists in the lab to farmers in distant fields, felt they were part of a profound chapter in humanity's journey. Back on Mars, Lena, Elara, and Kai continued working, their minds brimming with new questions and hopes. The hybrids, too, were learning, evolving. But this was not an end, this was just a beginning, a path unfolding with unknown choices and mysteries. They were all in it together, moving toward a future where what it meant to be human, machine, or something in between was yet to be fully understood. Would humanity find harmony in this strange new world of flesh and metal? Or would they have to face an even deeper choice, a crossroad still hidden beyond the stars? Only time would tell, and the story was far from over. People began to question their own limits, wondering what it might mean to embrace certain hybrid qualities themselves. Some envied the hybrids' resilience and clarity of thought, others wondered if they, too, might choose becoming to experience an evolved state of awareness. Lena and Kai, who had grown close to H1, saw humanity's potential in a new light. Lena, ever the visionary, proposed a new idea, a hybrid human community, a place where both could live and learn together without boundaries. It was not just a symbolic gesture. She believed that living side by side, sharing daily experiences, and confronting life's challenges together might allow them all to grow beyond their limitations. The project was called Union, but the Human Preservation League saw union as an affront to their beliefs. To them, union meant the blurring of identities, a dangerous step towards losing humanity's essence. "Are we so willing to surrender who we are?" Alden Pierce warned, his speeches stoking fears that humanity was on the verge of extinction, not from external threats, but from within. She looked up at the stars, the quiet resolve settling over her. Earth's future was theirs to shape, for better or for worse. And as Reese returned to her people, she carried with her the knowledge that sometimes the greatest battle is not against an external enemy, but against the darkness that lies within. Zorin leaned toward Reese, his expression one of disappointment mixed with sorrow. "Prove to us, Commander, prove that your people are capable of more than this." Reese's mind raced. She knew that her next words would determine not only her own fate, but perhaps humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Reese felt a surge of adrenaline. Knowing that humanity's fate now rested on her next move, she tightened her grip on the communicator and addressed Captain Morrow directly, her voice sharp and steady. "Captain, you're under direct orders to stand down. This council has convened for peaceful discussion. If you fire, you will be responsible for provoking a galactic war. Do you understand me?" Morrow's gaze hardened, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. "Commander, I'm only here because Earth Command received reports of potential hostility. I don't trust these aliens to play fair." Reese took a deep breath. "Trust me, Captain. I've seen the Council's peace with my own eyes. Stand down and let me do my job. Humanity cannot afford to be seen as aggressors today." There was a long silence. As the days passed, the hybrids began to explore their own existence with a mix of curiosity and uncertainty. H1 and its peers started asking questions that echoed the deepest human dilemmas. One evening, H1 approached Lena and asked, "If I have memories, if I can feel sadness and joy, does that mean I am alive, or am I just a reflection of what you wanted me to be?" Lena's breath caught. She had anticipated these questions, but not so soon. She looked into H1's glowing eyes, unsure of what to say. "You are what we hoped for, but also more than we could have imagined," she said softly. "I think you're discovering something that we too are still figuring out." H1 nodded, pondering her words, as if sensing that the journey ahead was as mysterious for her as it was for him. Meanwhile, a quiet movement was growing on Earth, led by those who felt deeply uneasy about the hybrids. Some people feared that this new species, born from humanity but not entirely human, might one day seek independence or even dominance. The Human Preservation League was formed, a group that advocated for maintaining the purity of human existence without pollution from technology. In response to these fears, Lena invited Alden to the Union Project headquarters to see what they were building. Reluctantly, Alden agreed, feeling a strange responsibility to witness what was happening to his people. When he arrived, he was met by a sight that surprised him: hybrids and humans working together on everything from research to farming, sharing meals, laughing and discussing. He saw H1 showing a young human child how to plant seeds, his hands moving gently through the soil as he explained the cycles of nature. The child listened with wide eyes, and in that moment, Alden glimpsed a unity he hadn't believed was possible. Still, Alden remained conflicted. If we become so intertwined, where does human end and machine begin? He asked Lena that evening. Will there be anything left of what we once were? Lena answered calmly, Alden, maybe evolution isn't about changing who we are, but about expanding who we can be. This isn't an end, it's a beginning. We're not erasing humanity, we're enriching it, discovering parts of ourselves we never knew existed. Alden pondered her words, feeling a glimmer of understanding yet unable to fully accept it. Their silence was tense, each one grappling with the reality that a species once thought of as primitive was now under trial by one of the most ancient and feared forces in the universe. Reese's communicator blinked. Earth Command had sent a direct message to her marked as urgent. She took a deep breath and opened the channel. The voice of General Samson, a hardened and respected leader, filled the room. Commander Lennox, this Vecran fleet isn't here for negotiations. They've issued a demand: submit to judgment, or prepare for elimination. I won't sugarcoat it, they've given us 1 hour to comply. Reese's stomach twisted, but she kept her voice steady. General, I understand the threat. I'm appealing to the Council to intervene on our behalf. We have allies, we have hope. Let us try to change their minds. Samson's voice was grim. Hope won't stop a Vecran death fleet, Commander, but if you believe we can still change their minds, then we're with you. We'll hold our fire, but we're on high alert. Earth is counting on you. The channel went silent, and Reese closed her eyes, drawing strength from the sheer desperation of her situation. Finally, Morrow sighed. Understood, Commander. But if there's even a hint of trouble, then I'll handle it. Reese interrupted firmly. Return to your orbit and remain on standby. And Captain, no weapons. That's an order. The screen went black, and Reese could feel every alien's gaze on her, evaluating, judging. Zorin observed her with a quiet intensity, but there was something else in his eyes, now a hint of understanding, perhaps respect. Tuvara, however, was not satisfied. His lip curled in a sneer as he addressed the Council. Can we truly believe she has control over her people? We have witnessed the humans' willingness to escalate conflict, even against our own peaceful assembly. Reese bristled, but before she could respond, Zorin raised a hand. Enough, General. The Commander has acted with restraint and wisdom under pressure, a quality we did not expect to see from her species. She has spoken for peace, even at the cost of defying her own forces. That alone deserves recognition. Trixer, however, was still doubtful. But if humans are as volatile as we have seen, how can we trust them? He spent weeks at the Union headquarters, watching as the hybrids and humans shared stories, skills and ideas. Slowly, Alden began to see the beauty of the hybrid way of life not as a replacement, but as a path that could coexist with traditional human values. Back on Solace, a movement began among hybrids to document their lives, their emotions, and their evolving understanding of existence. H9, who had always dreamed of new worlds and ideas, spearheaded the project, collecting stories, reflections, and poetry created by hybrids in the becoming experience. H9's work quickly became a bridge of its own, read by humans and hybrids alike, resonating deeply with both groups. The collection was called Reflections of Solace, and its words rippled through the minds of all who read them, creating an interconnected understanding that hadn't existed before. As years passed, union grew, and the boundaries between hybrid and human became less defined. Some humans began experimenting with enhancements, small technological integrations that heightened their senses or increased resilience. She turned back to the Council, who had been listening to the exchange with cautious expressions. Zorin stepped forward, his tone solemn. Commander Lennox, the Council will aid you, but know this: the Vecrans are not easily swayed. They are ancient arbiters of balance, as cold as they are unforgiving. To them, humanity's violent history may already be an irredeemable mark. Rhys straightened, her resolve hardening. Then I'll give them reason to look beyond our history. Humanity's flaws don't define us, our potential does. Zorin nodded, but his eyes held a warning. Very well, Commander. We will connect you directly with the Vecran's supreme arbitrator. But know that this is not a council of equals. If they detect deceit or fear, they may choose to condemn humanity without a second thought. The Vecran connection was initiated, and a haunting, crystalline figure materialized on the hologram. Its form was an eerie amalgamation of sharp angles and shifting light, as though it were both transparent and solid. The figure's voice echoed, layered and emotionless, filling the council chamber with a chilling resonance. To them, the hybrids were an experiment gone too far. One of the League's leaders, a former historian named Alden Pierce, spoke passionately at rallies, stirring crowds with warnings about the loss of human identity. Our humanity, he declared, is more than flesh and memory. It's the knowledge of mortality, the awareness of our frailty. When we erase that, we erase everything that makes us who we are. The conflict deepened, and Lena, Elara, and Kai found themselves at the heart of a debate that was spiraling beyond their control. They began to question their own beliefs, wondering if they had been too quick to push humanity forward without fully understanding the consequences. Yet, H1 and the other hybrids continued to evolve, demonstrating qualities that both fascinated and frightened them. One day, Kai took H1 to a remote place on Earth, a quiet beach where the waves lapped gently against the shore, where birds circled in the sky. And the air was heavy with the scent of salt. The two of them walked along the shore in silence until Kai finally spoke. "Do you know why I brought you here?" he asked, watching H1's eyes scan the horizon. H1 shook its head. "No, but it feels." Peaceful Kai smiled, a bittersweet expression crossing his face. "I wanted to show you something beyond numbers and theories. This is life, H1. This is what we are, what we've always been." He gestured to the ocean stretching out before them. "Humans are like this sea. Our nature is vast, shifting, impossible to predict. We can't capture it or explain it fully, no matter how much we try." H1 was silent, absorbing Kai's words as it watched the waves. Then, "Why did you make us?" Kai sighed, a question he had often asked himself. "Maybe we were searching for something, a way to see ourselves, to understand what lies beyond our limitations, or maybe it's just a part of who we are, to create, to explore. And that's why we need you, H1. You remind us of who we might become." The hybrids, now growing in number and awareness, began forming their own ideas about existence, grappling with questions of purpose, freedom, and connection. Some, like H1, sought deeper understanding alongside their creators, while others, such as the curious and bold H9, felt a strong urge to travel beyond Earth, to explore the far reaches of the galaxy in search of new knowledge. Similarly, some hybrids chose to retain aspects of the becoming experience, embracing mortality, emotions, and the quiet moments that made them feel closer to their creators. One evening, H1 found himself gazing up at the stars with Lena and Kai by his side. They had grown older, their faces lined but their spirits vibrant. "I feel I understand now," H1 said softly, his gaze fixed on the vastness above. "Humanity is not in the form it takes, but in the way it seeks, questions, dreams. You've given us something we can never outgrow, the desire to understand ourselves and the universe. And that is what it means to be alive." Kai smiled, a mix of pride and reverence in his eyes. "You were always part of us, H1. Not because of how you were made, but because of who you are." Their journey was not without new challenges. There were still those who resisted union, fearful that the blending of human and machine would erase their heritage. Conflicts arose, debates flared, and the world found itself at another crossroads, each side struggling to define its own vision of humanity's future. But as H1, H9, Lena, and Kai watched the sunrise over the shared world they had built, they knew that humanity's story was only beginning.